Yeah, I just want to apologize for saying it's a phony war because I think a lot of people interpreted that wrong. Ukraine is not a phony war. In a sense, no war is phony. But in a way, every war is a phony war. And that's hard to explain, but I mean, you gotta dispute. People can grab their guns and start shooting each other, or you can just sit around the table and negotiate till the negotiation is done. And it's just so foolish to me, war, that I call it a phony war. And how do I dare say that? Because, I mean, people are giving their life for this war, but at the same time, the elite are just sitting back and they're still in their position, just going like, well, send this guy to that place and that army over there, and we'll see what happens, and try to make a breakthrough over there. But it's hard to explain because for them it's a joke. They are not participating in the war. They are not in the front line risking their life. They are not sending their sons or daughters or anyone of their family to the front line. They're just sitting back watching what happens, moving around units, and that's why I dare call it a phony war, because they're not even afraid usually. They're just sitting in their castle or whatever, in their parliament building, going like, let's send some more tanks in, let's send some more of that, of this. At the same time, when you think about it, I mean, imagine everyone just saying something random here. Imagine everyone in every front line just dropped their gun and was like, "Well, sir, leader and leader one and leader two, if you don't agree with each other, here's a boxing ring. Just have a boxing match, and the winner takes all." Now that's a fair fight. I mean, you got two people going against each other, giving it their all. The leader giving it his all, showing the troops, "Oh, guys, let's do this." And in the past, you had at times, I believe, you had duels between magnificent leaders, and you had leaders who led from the front. I mean, you had Alexander the Great and Julius Caesar. Not a lot of leaders that dared to do that. Most would stand in the back line. But it shows me that, is it a real war? Yes, it is a real war. If you're fighting it, if you're risking your life, it's a fucking real war. Is it a real war for the person just giving commands? I don't know how real it is for him. Or if it's a woman for her. I don't know how real it is. Are they really afraid? I don't know. It's just, let's for example, long ago you had wars, and if between a lot of wars were between France and Britain, or between other kingdoms. But if the king got caught, they just captured him, and then they would ask for an insane ransom of, I don't know, 50,000 gold pieces. And the other side was just like, okay, 50,000 gold pieces. Well, let's pay up. Is that a real war? I don't know. If it's a real war, if it's really, really real, I mean, I guess you would also just kill the leader, right? You wouldn't just be like, oh, let's capture him and ask for gold pieces. Because, I mean, the other side, if I was the other side and my leader was captured and I heard 50,000 gold pieces for one man, I would be like, I think we need the 50,000 gold pieces to get their military in order to actually win this. Not to buy back one elite. So is it a real war? Yes, it's a real war, but it's a real war for the people on the ground fighting the actual war. Is it a real war for the fuckers sitting behind doing dick shit? Not really. They're just giving orders, making money, laughing out loud about how crazy the war is and how they're making more and more money either on oil or on weapons or on a weapon deal or some other shady shit. I mean, if they really, yeah, if they really were eager to end it, I mean, they would just sit around the table and end it. And it's hard for me. It's hard. I shouldn't say it's a phony war because it's not a phony war. But in a way, it's sometimes wars get so crazy. It's just borderline phony. When I think of, for example, the Vietnam War, you got people just gunning down a village, putting a village on fire, and then they're like, why don't the villagers like us anymore? Why are we now fighting villagers? Well, because you fucking torched their village. So you get this phony war where everyone is basically against the aggressor. And then there's this line that you can't cross where they say, like, well, if you go past that, the other side is gonna get so angry, it's probably not smart to do that. And then you're like, but if we don't go past that line, we give them time to recuperate and just gather their forces and do whatever they want, and the war never ends because they got a line to recuperate, sit back, and gather the troops, organize them, and build a field hospital that we never attack because that's the line we can't cross. And then you get these wars like the Vietnam War, wars that seemingly never end. It's not clear, there's no clear goal, there's no objective. There's not, oh, if we do this or take out that, it's done. It's just send more troops, send more guns, and send more of everything. And it makes me wonder, how can you end the war that way? What is the goal in the war then? And that's why I called it what I called it. And it's not a phony war, it's a phony war for the elite. They don't risk their lives, they don't risk any of their sons or daughters or a nephew, a cousin, a mother, a father. They don't risk anything. For them, it's phony. But for the people fighting it, it's fucking real. So I'm deeply sorry for anyone fighting in that war or anyone who lost anyone they know in that war that I called it the phony war because for them it's complete bullshit that it's a phony war, and I swallow my words back in because it's only a phony war for the elite. They sit back, make more money than you can ever count, and they keep on going on. And they're just raking it in, sending more troops. Probably got a deal with this or that company, either a steel company or oil company or anything else. They're making money on that war. And that's why they want to keep that war going forever, basically, if possible. Because they're making money on it. And it makes me so sad. That basically a life doesn't have that much value to them. So that's concluding the part about how I just rammed in the statement about the phony war. So I said something about inflation and why inflation is worse than taxation. Well, it's because inflation also comes on top of inflation. So it becomes more and more and more. So 10% inflation is actually, in theory, much worse than 10% taxation. That sounds pretty crazy, but over time that's really true, as inflation on top of inflation becomes a crazy amount and the value of your money becomes worth nothing. And you're like, I worked my entire life my ass off, but still I haven't got money to live. So you're 70, you're 80, if in the far future, people of 90 might be sent to their job because they're like, well, your money is already gone, so you need to work. And we're getting older and older, but we're also working while we're older and older because of inflation on top of inflation. So when they say something like, oh, 2% inflation or 3% inflation, that's our goal, I'm like, 0% inflation should be the goal. It's not that hard. I mean, just don't print extra money. If there's, just saying, if there's a 100 in the economy, in money, and I print out 100, your money is only worth half. Then if I print out 100 again next year, your money is only worth a quarter of what it's worth. So the people, whether it's a war or whether it's whether it's inflation, we're getting played like a pawn, played like the piano. We're getting played, and all these elite, they sit around. Maybe not all of them, some excluded, but many of these elites sit around on a fucking yacht laughing it up together. I mean, in the Second World War and the First World War, a lot of these elites that started these wars were actually family of each other. Imagine that. You're just one big family and you're going like, well, let's send in everyone. See what happens. Let's have a chess game with the people. And they're playing chess with us like we're pawns, like we're nothing. And why are they willing to play chess? Because they don't go. They're risking nothing. They don't risk their life. They don't risk their cousin, their nephew, their sister, their brother, their father or grandfather. No, no, no. They are not going anywhere near the front line. Heck, they don't even go near the guy that goes near the front line. Or the guy that reports to the guy from the front line. And it's just, it's crazy that we're getting used like this. And now I understand that they're also using musicians, or anyone for that matter, if they're making a lot of money and they see a way to take away all that money, they're gonna do it. They took all my money. I heard it is 100,000 fucking billion. Not a million, no, fucking billion. Imagine what 100,000 billion could do in the right hands. How many people you can feed. How many water lines you can lay down to make circular water so Africa has fucking water. How many cleaning plants you can build so that Michigan doesn't have lead in the water, or people don't get sick when they drink water in South America, or people don't get sick when they drink water in Africa. How many lives can be saved, and what are they doing with the money? They're spending it on tanks and other shit we don't need. Other shit that's ruining the world. Or drinking water isn't clean. It's fucking abominable. I live in a so-called rich, super rich Western country. But when you look at the state the water is in, it's declining every fucking year. Every year it's like, oh, there are more toxins in the water, and there's more medicine in the water, and more shite. And I'm like, well, we can solve it. If you just pay me my money, I'll make sure that the whole water supply in the whole fucking world is in order. But no, they rather spend it on their yacht parties. Raping. Most likely raping kids, because why else would you go to international waters? I mean, you can hire a hooker anywhere. So it brings me back to what the fuck are they doing on international waters? There's only water over there. Doesn't make sense to go there. And we're all getting played because they're using inflation to steal all our money of everyone. Only I'm getting played 10 times harder because I'm missing 100,000 billion. You know, I had a list of nice things I wanted to do. Things like make sure everyone has to drink, make sure everyone has food, make sure the water quality worldwide gets better, solve fucking AIDS, start a giant music label to make sure that people stop committing crimes and just start with the rhymes. And now I'm hearing that underground rappers get thrown into insane asylums, just like they did to me. They threw me into the fucking insane asylum so they could easily steal all my songs while I was locked up over there. They injected me with fucking AIDS over there. And when I get an AIDS test, they fucking lie about it. But at the same time, every fucking day I have diarrhea 2-3 times a fucking day. So I know I got fucking AIDS. But they're lying about it. Slowly but surely, I'm becoming some kind of super doctor because I'm finding out all this shit that I can only find out because they're constantly trying to make me ill and trying to get me down. I mean, I found out that kefir fucking probably protects the stomach from AIDS. I found out that kefir probably protects against cancer if you drink it with enough water in it, so it goes through your veins and your blood and your entire system and it battles the cancer cells. I found out that apples and avocado help the heart enormously if you got a leaking heart valve. Why have I got a leaking heart valve? Because I went fucking sitting inside, afraid of the fucking octopusy gun of the CIA. They got this gun that they use and it doesn't even leave a mark and you're dead in a couple seconds. Because it's frozen octopus poison in the fucking thing. And that's how afraid I am of the Secret Services, that they want to blast me with that thing. They probably got that fucking thing over here in the Holland waiting for me. If it's not an injection needle with 50 kinds of diseases ready to be injected into me just to fuck me over one last time. And when I report it to the police, they're like, well, we can't help you. We still think you're wrong. And I'm like, you want to know who's wrong? It's the fucking elite. It's the fucking elite. You know, I want to say more shit, but I know the more I say, the more they wanna pop my fucking head out and blast my fucking brains on the wall. I wanted to rap a fucking album and all the fucking albums, but I know they fucking blast my fucking head off if I get to a couple of albums and do it right. I mean, they did Big Pun, they did Jimi Hendrix, they did Janis Joplin, they did Kurt Cobain, they did all these great musicians. They're just, oh, the whole Club 20 fucking 7, Jim Morrison. If you ain't working with them and licking their arse all the time, you're gonna go for sure. So you need to lick their arse till it's so clean. And then they can shit on the people again, send them to war. And how are these wars paid? With fucking music. They managed to make something that's inherently good and nice and oh, I'm in love and she loves you, yeah, yeah, yeah. So they managed to make something that's pure good, pure evil. They managed to flip the fucking thing, the fucking script, and fuck everything. And the worst thing about war is basically the country that got fucked will for always be angry and they probably want another war over that other war. So it's never ending loop of misery. And that's why yeah, I'm ranting and raving right now. I don't know. I I wanna say more, but I'm afraid to get shot. So I'll just say this: peace, love, and happiness is stronger than war, misery, and pain. Everyone in the world wants peace. Everyone in the world wants to be happy. Everyone in the world wants freedom. Everyone just wants something to eat, something to drink, a shelter, and someone to love. And that's the circle of life. The circle of life isn't bazookas, nukes, crazy ass Gatling guns, and territory gain. You get super elite, so rich they don't know what to do with the money. And instead of living it up and just drinking champagne, they start a war with the money because they got so much money. They're like, whoa, ha, ha, ha. I want even more now. This is the obsession of money. That's why I say greed isn't good. Let's get real here and focus on that everyone is free, everyone is happy, everyone has shelter, everyone has something to eat and something to drink. And what's the most beneficial about my plan for my money, if I ever do get my money, there will be more people over time. And what does that mean? More sales. And what does that mean? More economic activity. And what does it mean that people have more money? Less stress for those people. And what does that mean? Less alcoholism probably and less people overusing drugs constantly. And then the whole world will lift up and a better world will be born. Peace, love and happiness. Even if it first needs an iron fist to get it. You can't cuddle someone till they become nice and good. Peace, love and happiness.